Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account who says, I accidentally found out my fiancé has been creating erotic fan art / fiction for years. I'm not judging, but when I mentioned it to her, she became furious. I'm really confused. Me and my fiancé have been together for 6 years now. I love her dearly. My fiancé has always been huge into drawing in her free time. Frankly, she is really good at what she does. She has shown me a bunch of stuff in the past, and if I recall, she always posted it to her DeviantArt. Most of it is of video game characters. Some of her artwork is suggestive. Yesterday I was talking to a coworker about video games, and I remembered my fiancé did some art for one of the games we were talking about, so I decided to try to go to and find it. Being lazy, I decided to punch in her username into Google, hoping to find her DeviantArt. Except I had a lot more stuff come up. Google showed a bunch of pictures. I guess you could call them the not safe for work version of art she has done. I ended up clicking on them and being sent to my fiancé's Hentai Foundry profile. I just kind of shrugged and didn't care. However, in the Google search results, I also noticed a link to an archive of our own story with her username. This got me kind of curious, so I decided to take a peek, expecting it to just be old fanfiction stuff she wrote ages ago. There was a lot of stuff, including recent stuff in her profile. Most of it was, I guess, what you would call erotic fanfiction. At this point, I found it funny. When she got home on Friday night, I offhandedly mentioned what happened and how I found it humorous. She got very, very upset at me and started acting like I caught her cheating or something. I told her several times I'm not kink shaming, etc. She told me I violated her privacy and broke our trust. She said that stuff had nothing to do with me and had no business snooping. I tried my best to calm her down, but she was visibly upset last night. All of today, she had been very upset to the point where she said she needed to spend some time at her sister's. I've apologized and told her it was an accident, and I've told her several times that I'm not being judgmental about what she draws. However, she is still very upset. At this point, I'm at a loss for what to do. Now, to me in this one, automatically I'm going down, she's probably hugely embarrassed about you finding out and you reading it. You know, she's made a huge mistake by using the same username for multiple accounts, one that's linked to erotic fanfiction at the same time. Really wouldn't be that hard to discover. But I can imagine putting myself in her shoes and then, going up to someone and saying, oh yeah, I write erotic fanfiction online. I can imagine what the person would look at me like. I mean, I got no issues with it myself, you do you. If it makes you happy, got no problem with that. But we're going to check out some comments before we go to the update with Mammoth, who says she's embarrassed and ashamed. I'll just give her a little time. Which Tide replies to that one saying, he also said he found it humorous. As a writer, if my SO found something that's not meant to be funny, I'd be pretty fucking pissed too. Sometimes we're ashamed of our work, so we'd rather share it with strangers than people who know everything about us. My SO doesn't read all my work, I just tell him a general version, and also like I'm stuck on OP finding it funny. Just because you don't like it OP or find it funny does not mean you should share that with the artist or the writer. Moonlight's Hand says, I write erotica. I had an ex-partner I wasn't super open with. Guess that's why the relationship died, and if she had discovered my erotica posting, I'd have been mortified. I might have reacted angrily, but it would have been a cover for my own embarrassment. My partner now gets to read my porn first. And OP replies saying, I personally wouldn't mind she told or shared the stuff she spends hours doing. She has been extremely vocal in her kinks and fetishes, and we indulge in them. From quickly flipping through her fanfiction, I don't see anything outrageous or anything that is so out there. She knows I like her art, it has been my desktop background for ages. She has shown me art in the past where I've mentioned is hot, but rather than showing me the NSFW versions, she makes them in secret. I guess I'm trying to say I don't really like the idea of her having a whole secret life, and it would make me feel a lot better if we openly shared stuff. Pretty Bun Bun says, I was really upset and angry when my boyfriend found out about my fanfiction, and that's because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed about it, and him finding out about it mortified me, so I overreacted by crying and asking him how he found it. I wouldn't stress. I got over it pretty quickly, and I'm sure she will too. Just give her a bit of time. And one more comment from Humans who says, well, it's obviously been something private and personal for her that she wasn't accustomed to sharing with people in her personal life. By showing to her that you know about it, you shattered that bubble. I think the best thing would be to acknowledge that and apologize. That'll probably help things. So then OP did come in to update the post, which says doing this on a new throwaway because I cannot remember the password to my original throwaway account. She came back after I sent a large apology message, apologizing for laughing at her fanfiction, and it was not done out of malice and more out of awkwardness. We had a long talk about it. I explained that I wasn't that comfortable with her keeping such a large amount of her life secret and hidden from me. She also admitted that oftentimes, when she was saying she was working late in our home office, what she actually meant was she was writing and drawing stuff and just wanted to be left alone. I told her I had no problem with her hobbies, which made her happy. She also told me that she is so embarrassed because a bunch of it is self-inserts of her, and some of it would make me unhappy reading it. I asked her to show me, and she eventually agreed. I read some of it and it didn't bother me at all. In my opinion, to me, fantasizing about fictional characters isn't a huge deal as it is simply fantasy and not real. I asked if some of the things she writes are things that turns her on, and I told her that I am willing to try anything at least once. Yesterday night, she actually sat down next to me and started writing while I was next to her on the couch, and she didn't seem embarrassed at all anymore. So I guess this is good. Thank you for your help. Oh my word, is it another story where communication actually wins again? I am shocked, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from AU from the True Off My Chest subreddit, who says, I'm finding out my girlfriend of 1 year is deaf, and I'm on the bus on my way to see her for the first time. Holy shit, I'm trembling. Still 6 hours until I make it. I need to let it out somewhere. I, female 20, met her, female 21, in a match of League of Legends 2 years ago. We talked a lot, became really close, and basically started dating 1 year ago. We send each other pictures all the time and videos as well, so I never understood her apprehension to FaceTime me. We tell each other everything. I mean everything. She's presented me her parents and I know all her family. Today I was going to surprise her by visiting for the first time. I talked with her sister to make sure it was okay. Less than 30 minutes ago, I get a text from her, and I'm copy-pasting a translated version. Hey love, you are so sweet and beautiful and you deserve so much better. I know you are coming because Ez told me. I'm sorry to ruin your surprise, it's just I'd hate to see your face when you find out. I know we promised to always be truthful, but I've been lying to you all this time. That was her first paragraph and I was shitting myself because I thought she was breaking up with me. But then she continued. You were too caring to ask why I never speak. Why I never sent you a voice note. You were just too perfect and there's no way you'd be with me if you knew. The reason is very simple. I was born deaf. I'm sorry you have to find out this way. I'm just a coward for not telling you sooner. I'll understand if you don't want to be with me anymore. Holy fuck, I was expecting something totally different, and now I'm scared because I've never interacted with a deaf person and I want to make sure that she gets that I love her either way. I'm still in disbelief that she thought it'd be a deal breaker for me. Pronunciation here, La Concha de la Lora. I'm scared and needed to let it all out. Sorry for the long text. Edit. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I made another post explaining everything. Have an amazing day. And we do have an update to this post in a moment. And I think from what I looked up is La Concha de la Lora is something like holy fuck or something like that. There seems to be like a couple of things when I'm looking on Google at the moment. And I love people that are bilingual. I used to work with someone in the office, the last place I worked at, who was Spanish. And I don't like seeing them stressed or under pressure or anything like that. But whenever they did, they kept going from English to Spanish. So they'd mumble to themselves a few things in English and then go into Spanish as well. And it's one of my favorite things. Obviously, again, not them getting stressed out, but just seeing the languages mixed together like that. And I find myself doing it as well. But the other way around, the words that I learned from them. But we're going to move in straight into OP's update, which says, holy shit. That's how I would describe my whole experience. I'm back in my house now and I'm still processing everything that happened. I texted her I was outside and my hands were shaking. I had no idea what to do. I asked her if she can lip read and she said very little. When she opened the door, her eyes were already wet, and when she saw me, she broke down crying, and I started crying as well. I stopped thinking and just hugged her. I started speaking soothing words until I realized it was useless. After we both calmed down, we went to a room and started typing in our cell phones to talk to each other. At the beginning, it was kind of awkward, but after a while, it was pretty chill. We cuddled a lot, watched a lot of movies, and kissed a lot. It was a really beautiful day. There were some fuck-ups from my side. Out of the blue, I'd start speaking to her until I saw her confused face. I called her by her name when I was searching for her and tried to show her funny TikToks. The funny part being the audio. Yeah, I'm stupid, I know. But overall, it was an amazing day. She is more perfect than I could ever imagine. Thank you all for the words of support in the other post. I appreciate you guys. Edit. Thank you so much for the kind words. When I posted it, I never expected to get so many comments. I'm grateful for all the suggestions and tips, but maybe it's important to mention that we speak Spanish, and as far as I understand, ASL is not the same in Spanish, so I have a lot of work to do. Have a great night. Then Opie added one more update which says, I know nobody cares, but I still need to vent. It's been almost 3 weeks since we saw her in real life. She stayed last weekend at my place and we had a great time. But every time I wanted to say something and couldn't and had to type it, I felt frustration and anger. Because just now it's hitting me that she could have told me, just like yours said, and I'd already know at least a little bit of sign. It angers me because she knows how I am. She knows me better than anyone, and she still thought I wouldn't love her. I know it's more of a me issue, but still I can't help feeling sad. I don't want this to ruin our relationship, and I know I have to talk to her, but I guess I'm not ready yet. And now I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account who says, am I the asshole for asking my husband to join us in my sister's birthday, since he was in the same restaurant? I, female 26, was invited to my sister's 18th birthday a few days ago at a restaurant. My husband didn't come because he said he had a meeting dinner with some clients. This made my family feel let down, especially my sister who wanted him there, and also her 18th birthday was a big deal to her obviously. To my surprise, when I arrived, I noticed that my husband was having his meeting at the same place. His table was right in the corner and he had about 4 men sitting with him. My parents and the guests saw him as well. I waved for him and he saw me but ignored me. He obviously was as much as surprised as I was. My parents asked why he didn't even come to the table to acknowledge them after the cake arrived. I got up and walked up to his table. I stood there and said, "Excuse me." My husband was silent when I asked. After I introduced myself to the clients, if he'd take a few minutes to join me and the family in candle blowing and say happy birthday, but he barely let out a phrase and said, "I don't think so, I'm busy right now." I insisted, saying it'd take a couple of minutes and that it means so much to my sister. He stared at me and then stared awkwardly back at his clients. They said nothing and he got up after my parents were motioning for me to hurry up. He sat with us while my sister blew the candles and cut the cake. My parents insisted he takes a piece and join us in the selfie, but he got up and walked back to his table looking pissed. We haven't talked till we met later at home. He was upset and stared scolding me in front of my parents, saying I embarrassed him and made him look unprofessional and ruined his business meeting. I told him he overreacted since it only took a few minutes and it was my sister's birthday and my family wanted him to join since he was literally in the same restaurant. He called me ignorant and accused me of tampering with his work, but I responded that ignoring mine and my family's presence was unacceptable. We argued, then he started stonewalling me and refusing to talk to me at all. For your information, I didn't have an issue with him missing the event, but after seeing he was already there, then it became a different story. Also, it literally took 5 to 7 minutes. He didn't even eat nor drink, just sat down and watched. And we're going to start in the comments with Con, who says, "You and your family deliberately sabotaged his career. I'm a big birthday person, and I'm disgusted by your ignorance and selfishness. You have any idea how professional business works? What you did was disrespectful to your husband and his clients and may have caused him to lose his job, especially if those clients are major ones. How will you behave when your husband interrupts you during your business meeting that you already informed him of and drags you to another table to watch his brother blow the candles and have a piece of cake? Do you even work at all if you're this clueless? You're the arsehole, and you're the arsehole. Confident Storm says, you're the arsehole. You have never had a professional job, have you? It was so important for him to be there. Why didn't you guys move the dinner celebration to another date? Upon seeing him at the same restaurant, you should have acted like you didn't even know him, since this was a business meeting with clients. Religa says, you're the arsehole. He was working. You knew from the start he was working. You could have told your parents and guests he was working. Instead, you went over and interrupted an important dinner. It's fine to make your sister's birthday about her, but it's not okay to make your husband's meeting about her. Reiki Queen says, I work in an office setting where clients are taken out for lunch, dinner, or an event all the time. I can tell you 100% that if one of our reps was hosting or even the owner of the company, they would have come over and said at least happy birthday. All these comments saying you're the arsehole is BS. Your husband is the arsehole. If I was the client, I can tell you, I wouldn't want anything to do with someone who ignored his own wife. And Miska replies that saying you're absolutely right. People who are saying OP sabotaged her husband's career are totally out of touch with reality. It was just a few minutes and family matters more than business. OP's husband should have told his clients, excuse me, the table over there is my wife and her family. They're celebrating my sister-in-law's birthday. I didn't know they were coming to this restaurant. Excuse me for a few minutes while I go say hi. And it would have all been fine. If I was OP's husband's clients, I think he's an arsehole for how he ignored and got pissed at them. And one more from Topor who says, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I say everyone sucks here. You shouldn't have been so pushy. If he said no, then take the no. But also, having family is not a business sin. If I, as a buyer, client, whatever, see my salesman ignoring his family, I would have had a bad impression of him. He could have said hello and politely returned to his meeting. I've worked in sales for 25 years and I have good relationships with my clients. I would never imagine any of my clients objecting to me going to say hi to my family. As a matter of fact, a lot of my clients have met my family. And there was just all sorts of different comments from you're the arsehole, everyone sucks here, not the arsehole in this. And I can sort of see a whole bunch of different sides depending on the client. You know, I've worked with absolute arsehole clients before that would have got pissed off at that. I've worked with people that would have insisted that I go over there and talk to family, probably even come with me. So I'm going to love to know your opinion on this story. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below and let's have another story. And our next story comes from Fit Magazine 4653 who says, am I the arsehole for asking my girlfriend to start making me breakfast every morning? I, 27 male, have been living with my girlfriend, 29 female, for several months now. For the most part, things are really good and I plan to propose soon and hopefully have at least a couple of kids with her. However, we run up against a conflict. She's an absolute morning person. I hate mornings. By the time I force myself out of bed in the morning and into the shower, she's already been up for at least 30 minutes, even though she has to be at work later than I do, and is at the stove making breakfast. She likes a huge breakfast in the morning. She usually has eggs, either French toast or pancakes, hash browns or breakfast potatoes, and sausage or bacon. Sometimes on weekends it's ham or steak. She eats almost nothing for lunch and usually has a smallish dinner, but she loves a huge breakfast. Meanwhile, I only ever have cold cereal for breakfast, or maybe if I'm feeling really ambitious, some instant oatmeal and orange juice. I only even start to come alive halfway through my second cup of coffee, and definitely don't feel like cooking in the morning. However, my girlfriend obviously does, so recently I asked her if she'd start making breakfast for me too. She asked if we were going to trade off, and if I'd sometimes make breakfast for her too. I told her no, but reminded her I do often make dinner for her. She said that since we trade off making dinner, we should trade off making breakfast too. I told her that there is no way I'll ever be able to muster that kind of energy first thing in the morning, but that since she obviously can, that she should just make me breakfast too. I said that it would take next to no extra effort on her part to throw in a couple more eggs, strips of bacon and an extra portion of hash browns, etc., since she's already doing it for herself anyway. But it started a fight, with her saying that it wasn't fair for me to expect her to think of me in the morning since I don't do the same for her. She seems to think that her making breakfast for me should figure into our division of labor and that I should do something extra in return. But I think that since she makes a huge breakfast for herself every morning anyway, that throwing an extra portion of whatever she's making on for me would take next to no effort on her part. So why should I do more for her in return than I already do? It was the last line that jumped out to me. You said, so why should I have to do more for her in return than I already do? Yet you sort of stated that you split things equally, like you both make dinner equally, etc. So you're not doing more for her at the moment than she's doing for you because you're doing things equally, yet you want her to do more for you. Oh, my head. So surely the simple solution to this is that you make all the dinners, she makes all the breakfast, job done. But high class badass says you're the arsehole, lol. Oh, so we'll take turns making breakfast for each other. Oh, no, you'll just make food for me. There's no extra effort for you anyways. The cheek on you. Time and Entropy says you're talking about proposing in kids. Will she never get a morning off from kids because you hate mornings? She's already up, so she should be the one to pack bags and lunches and cook everyone breakfast. She's breastfeeding, so you never need to cover the night wake-ups. She's home earlier often, and that's the person who starts dinner and picks up the kids and deals with the homework, but you're totally doing 50-50. She's washing her clothes anyway, so there's no extra effort to put yours in. And fold them and put them away because she's doing that for the rest of the load, right? It sounds like she already feels like she's doing more, and now you're asking for something else. It would require effort and energy for you to do it. It requires effort and energy for her to do it. This may be a small amount of additional energy for this one thing, but it makes me wonder if she's already feeling that she's putting out significantly more effort for household duties as it stands. Oh, and you're the arsehole. And we're pretty much just going to stop there with the comments because they're pretty much all the same. All the arseholes. It's unanimous there. But what do you guys make of this one? I kind of think, if he makes dinners, she makes all the breakfast. Should solve the situation, right? But maybe you got a different opinion on the matter. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care, you cheeky so-and-so. Much love.